Hello and welcome to Breakfast All Day. I'm Matt. That's Alonso. That's Christy. I'm pointing around. Who knows where anybody is who knows? Anyway, big movie this week. Probably the biggest movie is the arguably unasked for and not really awaited at all remake of the classic 1983 movie Valley Girl. Christy, since you loved it so much, you thought it was so tubular.
It's about her.
My God. Yes, it is. I'm a Valley girl. This is part of why I'm so harsh on this, is because it's personal. I mean, I grew up in the Valley in the 80s. I'm from Woodland Hills. I was a Valley girl.
I was going to school in the Valley in the 80s as well. But please tell us about this movie.
I will. This is a musical version of Valley Girl. You say it's not long awaited, but it actually is, because it was supposed to have come out 2 years ago.
Well, I meant that, was anyone really waiting for this?
No, nobody was. But Logan Paul is one of the co-stars. And when all of that nonsense happened with him, the controversial stuff that he did and tweeted and the issues he had, he is the reason that this got delayed for so long and now it's seeing the light of day. And that's why Jessica Rothe is 32, 33 years old, but she is now playing a high school person. So this is a musical remake of Valley Girl, which was a modern day take on Romeo and Juliet. And it's about a girl from the Valley whose life is safe and happy and pristine. And she goes to the mall with her vapid materialistic friends and all they do is shop and say, oh my God, you guys, it's so totally gnarly. And so that's all they do all day is it's tripendicular. I never said tripendicular. That's not a real word, but I did say bitchin' and awesome. Anyway, this takes place in 1983. And Julie, now played by Jessica Rothe, meets Randy, now played by Josh Whitehouse. And these are the roles played by Deborah Foreman and Nicolas Cage in the original. He's from Hollywood and he's a punk and he's edgy and angry and dangerous and they meet and they fall in love over the hill and they can't be together because neither one of their friends approves of this. But this time they do it all in song. And from the very beginning, I gotta say this is a pretty ballsy move. They start out at a big song and dance sequence in the mall to We Got the Beat, which is the song that starts out Fast Times at Ridgemont High, also at the mall. I'm sorry, if you're gonna swing for the fences and draw those kinds of comparisons, you better be good. And this is not. And so they fall in love and they sing and they dance and it's a bunch of 80s songs. There's a whole bookend device where Alicia Silverstone, as the older mom version of Julie, is telling this story in a flashback to her daughter, played by Camilla Morone. I don't know in what DNA universe is Camilla Morone Alicia Silverstone's daughter, but whatever.
Or that Jessica Rothe turns into Alicia Silverstone.
Nothing makes sense. But
not implausible.
I have many questions about many choices here. So they sing and dance and fall in love. And one of my main problems with this, besides the fact that the production numbers feel very small and tinny, is that the song choices are quite frequently anachronistic. And this is a thing that I know usually bothers you, Alonso. This really bothered me, and I'll tell you why. Because they put it in a very specific place and time. It's not just 1983. It's June 1983, because Julie's dad, played by Rob Hubel, says, look, it's Sally Ride, the first woman to go into space. And so it pinpoints it in a very specific and not nebulously 80s milieu, right? So they do a whole montage, like a singing and dancing aerobics class montage to Madonna, Material Girl, which came out in 1984. They sing Take On Me in a carousel when they're falling in love with each other. Came out in 1985. I know you have an answer for why this is okay, but it bothered me in the watching of the thing. It bothered me.
I'm going to say this.
Okay.
Normally, I'm with you. I hate when a movie treats the 80s as the 80s, like it's like the entire decade is mushed into day and whatever. However, I think that the Alicia Silverstone framing device in this movie gets them off the hook, because immediately when she starts telling the story and everybody's doing We Got the Beat, they cut back to her daughter going, whoa, 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 you were all singing and dancing in a mall? And she goes, well, that's how I remember it. So the whole movie is kind of an unreliable narrator, glossy flashback. So yeah, if the songs are anachronistic, if there are certain things that don't make, linear sense or whatever. The movie has given itself an out for that. And so this isn't a perfect film, but I'm not going to on that, because that, I think they explained away early enough so that we just have to kind of go with it.
That is cheap, but I'm okay. You're okay with it. I am not. Okay.
Fair enough. I was surprisingly charmed. It was not. I wasn't dying for this movie either. The notion of like, let's turn Valley Girl into a jukebox musical, which is basically what this is. But I think that it ultimately works. Like, it is charming enough. The leads are, I love Jessica Rothe. She's so good in like
Me
the
too.
Happy Death Day movies and stuff. I think was it Noah Whitehouse? Is that his name? He was the night. Josh Whitehouse, sorry. He was The Night Before Christmas on Netflix. So, I think he's fine. Like, this movie has a lot of fun, and it knows how goofy it is, and it's sort of leaning into being like the 21st century rose-colored glasses version of what the 1980s were like. Although some of the wardrobe choices are spot on.
Definitely. No, there are some of the, like the little bitty ankle socks with the heels. Like, they get that stuff right.
The striped thing that she's wearing with the pedal pushers, like
right, the little
right out of the
jumpers
Esprit catalog. Yeah. And here's the thing, that the original Valley Girl, fun movie, charming movie, a really great sort of snapshot of an era, a movie that was a million times better than it had to be, given that it exists to exploit a pop song, doesn't make a ton of sense when you think about it. I mean, like, Christy, as a Valley Girl in the 80s, you did own a car, did you not?
When I turned 16, yes, the day I turned 16.
So the notion of driving over the hill into Hollywood was not like a forbidden concept to you, right?
Oh, no. Not only that, we did it all the time, and we felt super grown up for doing it. We would go get sushi in Westwood, or we would go shopping at Beverly Center. Yes.
So they treat the idea of leaving the valley to go downtown or vice versa as being this like transgressive thing in both versions. And it's kind of like, all right, we have to sort of accept that for the plot to make sense. Anyway, I'm not going to like die on the hill of this movie. It does have some problems, but overall, it made me smile. I had a good time. I liked it in the way that I will still defend Gem. So take that to the bank for whatever it's worth.
I think the Gem and the Holograms movie is a much better movie than this. This is fine. It's fine. Like, I think if you are, the target audience in my head has to be
years old,
teen, youngish teens, early high school that have a thing for the 80s, and not to make a comparison, because in no way is this movie anywhere close to Grease, but the way kids in the 70s were kind of like, oh, 50s is wild, Grease is amazing. This movie does some, has sometimes it's really almost does some really cool stuff with the music. The kind of mashups that they do at the aerobic scene where they're dropping all these songs in starts off to get really cool, and then they kind of drop the ball on it. But somebody's head was in the right place, and that almost musically was very interesting. I think the songs are so on the nose, and then they, are having people sing stuff that they shouldn't be singing.
Like what? Like I just can't
like
get enough.
having Whitehouse sing the Aha song. Like, I don't know.
I'll be gone in a day or two.
I understand that, but like that's like 4 octaves below his range. Like, absolutely not.
I even forgive the Under Pressure number here, because it was much worse on Smash.
I would say the Under Pressure number is actually the only one that I think works.
Yeah, it's the La Resistance of this movie.
Because they cut everyone's little stories together, and it's all leading up to prom night, and the various pressures are all feeling. Like, that's the only one that I think does work, and it ends in kind of an effective way with the way Jessica Rothe says that lyric, and the way you see her in silhouette. Like, that's one good choice. And I think that she and Josh Whitehouse have a nice chemistry with each other when they're not singing.
Right, and I think that Rothe is good at singing. Chloe Bennett is good at singing. She's got this whole other side career as an Asian pop star that I think a lot of people don't know about. It is frustrating always to see people in their mid to late 20s and early 30s playing teenagers.
Stockard Channing,
right,
exactly.
Was 35.
Right. I mean, Stacey Dash did that for 20 years. One of the other problems in this, like, we talked about how nobody likes Logan Paul because he's an asshole. He's also terrible.
He's terrible.
Like, he made me think of your famous line, Alonso. He can't walk into a room convincingly. You said that about Chris Klein.
Yeah, the thought that this movie got held up for years because of the person who also winds up being the weakest element of it is just like really terrible irony.
Yeah.
I want to give props to Mandy Moore real quick for this. Not that Mandy Moore, the choreographer from La La Land. I think the choreography here is a lot of fun and it's energetic. It is a little small scale, I grant you, but I suspect that was a budgetary thing. And director Rachel Lee Goldenberg, do you guys know what her big previous credit was? She did the Lifetime movie A Deadly Adoption with Will Ferrell. Wig.
That's really funny. Also, we should mention Mae Whitman, who is always like way better than the material. She elevates whatever she's in. She is Brandy's lesbian rock star best friend, and she brings like a groundedness and a humanity to this that is totally missing when everything else just feels false and tinny.
Can I mention some really, really insane cameos in this?
Well,
should you?
So first of all,
that's true, Matt. Are people going to get mad that you're spoiling?
Let's not spoil. I think we can say there are
okay,
cameos.
when you watch the credits and see who Mr. G is.
Mr. G.
Yeah.
Well, there's the person who's working at the dress store.
Yes, and also the fun mom.
Well, sure. But then also, because they make a big deal about K-Rock,
they have someone playing Rodney Bingenheimer.
Which I was like...
He sounds like him.
He does sound like him.
He sounds a lot like him.
And it's like he waltzed in out of a different movie.
Yeah.
It's the guy from Reno 911 whose name...
Right, Tom Lennon. Thomas Lennon.
Thank you. Yeah.
I was trying not to spoil that.
I wasn't going to say that.
I thought we were talking about the cameos of like the stars of yesteryear.
No, I'm talking about no. All right. But anyway, I won't spoil it. Well, you know what? Nobody's going to recognize this one. Mr. G, Eric Garcetti.
The mayor of Los Angeles, really?
Well, he is Mr. G.
As what? Who's Mr. G?
As like some teacher at the school.
That's so funny.
Like he's in the prom scene. Like they do this whole thing where...
Oh, that's what that is,
like,
at the punch bowl.
She's like, he's like, don't forget about me. Oh, I'll never forget you, Mr. G. Like...
Oh, funny.
That's weird. Anyway, but again, like that's supposed to be a thing that's funny and does not work clearly because we didn't catch that it's Eric Garcetti.
Right.
Saying 2 years ago, he wasn't busy trying to stop coronavirus in this town. He wasn't busy trying to get testing for everybody in Los Angeles. He had time back then.
There's a lot of weird choices that otherwise would have made, just some like poorly bad decisions that are frustrating because there's other points that the movie kind of works. But
I'll say this: I was watching with Dave, and when the whole thing started, I was kind of like, "What is this? What are we doing?" But then, where the movie, or the point where I thought, okay, somebody did put some thought into this. There's a scene where the girls are at the beach, and Julie talks about wanting to have like a career and a life and the stuff on her own. And the other girl's like, no, let's just get married and get taken care of, and who cares about all that other stuff? And they start singing Girls Just Want to Have Fun. And Dave and I are like, that's not what Girls Just Want to Have Fun is about. But then they cut, after that, there's like a reprise where Julie's alone under the dock and she sings the first verse, sort of like minor key and mournful. It's like, oh, okay, yeah. Right. So this movie does know what it's doing.
Some boys take a beautiful girl and hide her away.
From the world.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It just, at some point, this is one of those movies where I had to sort of let go of my thought of what it should be or what I wanted it to be and just analyze what it actually was. And admittedly, that's a thing that I don't do it all the time. Critics have a hard time sort of doing that. But I was like, all right, this is a jukebox musical. There's going to be a bunch of cover versions of songs that I know well. And I'm just going to have to see where that goes. And on that level, I was mostly entertained by it. And believe me, between Trolls and Mamma Mia and a couple of the fucking Strange Magic, like there have been some really awful movies that are built on cover versions of pop songs in the last few years. And this one I thought pulled it off.
Rock of Ages.
Oh yeah, I even turned it in and said, this is so much better than Rock of Ages.
See, so Alonso, I'm the opposite of you. I went into this really, really wanting to like it and disappointed. And I cringed a lot. So I'm saying 3.1.
Ooh. I said 6.8.
I'm right in the middle, 5.
All right, our number's a 5.
All right. Well, it is now streaming, and the wait is over. And Logan Paul is a garbage person. Thanks for watching. Like this video, subscribe to our YouTube channel, and check us out at BeFast All Day on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. And why not drop by our Patreon page at patreon.com/BeFastAllDay. We're finishing up this season of HBO's Westworld, talking about Hulu's Mrs. America, and lots of other fun stuff that only our subscribers get to hear and see. So we hope you'll come visit. Thanks. Bye.